Diddy's worst nightmare might just be coming true as Usher is reportedly preparing to testify in court. And trust me, the details surrounding this situation are more than shocking. They're downright disturbing. This could be the moment that changes everything for Diddy. So, what's going on here? Well, rumors have been swirling for years about Diddy's dark side, but if Usher takes the stand, we might finally get some real answers. What's really wild is that sources are saying Usher might know more than anyone else about Diddy's alleged behind-the-scenes dealings.
To New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 in the morning with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
a living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
They were close for years, and if anyone has seen Diddy's true colors, it's Usher. The connection between Diddy and Usher runs deep. There have been whispers for a long time that Diddy and Usher were involved in some pretty questionable situations back in the day. Usher even stayed with Diddy as a teenager, and stories from that time are now being re-examined in a much darker light. Some theories suggest that Diddy might have been grooming Usher or exposing him to environments no teen should experience.
His friend and former mentor, Sean Diddy Combs, was arrested on sex trafficking charges. News Nation senior story editor Paula Froelich joins me live with the scoop here. Paula, this sparked some suspicion and really caught a lot of fans' attention. Do you think it was hacked? What's the scoop?
Yeah, I do. Why not? I mean, here's the deal. Usher knows Diddy very well. I would not necessarily call them friends. He's definitely been distancing himself for years and has come out and said, you know what, I lived with him for a year. By the way, note to Usher's mom, you're going to give up your 13-year-old kid to go live with Diddy for a year? WTF. However, she did. And he saw everything, and it was really disturbing. And, Howard Stern once asked him, hey, would you let your kids go, hang out with Diddy? And he was like, yeah, absolutely not. No, under no circumstances. So, someone got into his Twitter. Do we think it's because of Diddy? I mean, the timing is odd. And everyone is kind of looking at everyone around Diddy right now. There was even rumors that Jay-Z had cleaned out his entire Instagram. Now, there is only one post up for a religious movie he is producing next year. However, he cleaned it out 2 years ago. So I think everyone who's ever known Diddy should be looking at their accounts and getting some security.
I can't imagine being in that inner circle right now. Speaking of Diddy, Paula, his former protege, Danity Kane singer Aubrey O'Day, she's also coming forward talking about his alleged controlling behavior during the reality show Making the Band. What more has she shared?
So she's been out over the past, I would say, decade, basically alluding to what a bad guy that Puffy is. And the most recent was that he controlled her every move, that he seduced her with love bombs and then would start criticizing her. And it was really a form of gaslighting. Anyone who's been in a bad relationship understands that.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine what has not been shared, what so many people are keeping close to the vest right now.
Well, considering her bandmates are suing him, you can only imagine.
Exactly. Okay, Paula Froelich, thank you so much. Always appreciate the scoop. Talk to you soon, my friend.
People are digging up old interviews where Usher hinted at bizarre situations and strange experiences while staying with Diddy. According to insider sources, Usher has been subpoenaed to testify in the high-profile case against Diddy, and his testimony could be a game changer. The R&B star, who was once close to Diddy and even lived with him as a teenager, is expected to reveal details about their time together. Details that could expose Diddy's alleged involvement in illegal and unethical activities. Usher knows everything, one source revealed. He was there during some of Diddy's wildest parties and saw things that no one else did. His testimony could bury Diddy for good. And that's not all. Another name that keeps popping up is Justin Bieber. It's no secret that Diddy took an interest in Bieber when he was just a teenager. There are videos and interviews showing a young Bieber hanging out with Diddy and Usher. Now, the internet is buzzing with theories that Bieber could have been another potential victim.
So, right, Lil Rod, he alleges that, Diddy told him personally that he had sex with Usher. And when you look at the lawsuit, even though they got Usher's name redacted, you could tell who it is because they describe him as the guy that performed at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, we all know who that is, but how you feel about that, man?
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know.
People are analyzing old footage, looking for clues, and pointing out moments that seem off in hindsight. The idea that Diddy might have involved both Usher and Justin Bieber in his alleged dark activities is causing a massive stir. Fans are demanding answers, and the media is on high alert. If Usher does testify, he could reveal secrets that Diddy has kept hidden for years. It's possible that he could share first-hand accounts of what he saw and experienced, which could completely dismantle Diddy's defense.
That Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe.
But let's talk about what this could mean legally. If Usher's testimony aligns with any of the ongoing investigations or lawsuits against Diddy, things could take a serious turn. We're talking about possible charges, legal ramifications, and maybe even jail time. Experts are already saying that if Usher brings solid evidence or a compelling story to the courtroom, it could be game over for Diddy. But that's not all.
Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy count?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows. The white guy with the curly hair. What's his name? The white guy with the curly hair. And he said, yo, would you send your son to Diddy camp? And Usher said, no. Ask him why he won't send him to Diddy camp. But yet and still you praise him.
Damn, man, and you said that, I know you can't go into detail, but you said that it was a situation where Diddy sent him to the hospital?
Let Usher explain that to you. Let Usher mama explain that to you. And the hospital was in Scarsdale, New York.
Theories are now circulating that Usher's involvement with Diddy may have also impacted Justin Bieber, who Usher mentored when he was just a teenager. Some insiders claim that Bieber, like Usher, may have been exposed to Diddy's alleged dark world during his rise to fame. While Bieber has not commented on these claims, the speculation has added another layer of intrigue to an already explosive case. Hashtags like #Usher testifies and #Diddy exposed are trending worldwide, as fans and critics alike try to piece together the shocking details.
We all can sit back and have allegations or suspect a certain thing of us about a person, but until them feds show pictures, or until somebody come and actually show proof, we can't believe it. But when you got 1,000 bottles to add with all the story, 1,000 bottles, my brother, you didn't even give a fuck enough to get rid of them. That's where his cockiness stood in at. See, when you're P. Diddy at 50, you never picture jail. Ever. I've gotten away with it for 30 years. I got this. I know how to slide them in and slide them out. I know how to move the drugs. They ain't gonna check no P. Diddy.
The court of public opinion is already swaying. Fans are split. Some standing by Diddy, others believing the rumors and speculation. Social media is on fire, with hashtags trending and countless theories being discussed. It's clear that this isn't just a scandal. It's a potential career-ending crisis for Diddy. Let's take a closer look at how this story unfolded. Diddy, whose real name is Sean Combs, has been at the center of a legal storm following a series of allegations that have rocked the music industry.
Like Puff, bro, your ass, wow. You niggas, like, freaky. Y'all freaky men. How they said in Chicago, freaky man? Freaky man. That nigga name, Freaky Man. I look at his kids and everything. It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know. Like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age because he's not yours. And you know in your mind he's not yours. And now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him.
The charges range from workplace harassment to more serious claims of abuse, and the case has been one of the most closely watched legal battles in recent memory. Diddy has consistently denied the allegations, calling them false and defamatory. But Usher's testimony could change everything. And what about Justin Bieber? He hasn't commented on any of these theories, but people are closely watching his social media and his moves. If he steps forward, it could be a monumental shift in this story.
Be like, what happened to your number? You like, I lost it. You know, fear, man. You gotta think of all the people, the white folks who've been at the parties. They scared. They don't roll in crowds with niggas and guns. You know, when they get slapped in the mouth at a party for being too high, they shut up. You get what I'm saying? You gotta think of all these people who've been terrified for years. Everybody. But see, people understand, I can say this, because I've been saying it while he was out. I'm one of the few people been calling this out for years. They ain't scared of who. I've been telling this nigga, where you at? I'm not scared of you. I'm not saying I'm bad or nothing, but I'm saying like, I got the right to speak. I'm not trying to kick him while he down or some shit. I've been looking in this motherfucking camera for the longest telling you I don't like you, I don't like nobody around you, and I don't like what you did to me.
It's unclear whether he would support Usher's claims or if he would distance himself from the whole situation. But his silence is speaking volumes to some fans who believe there might be more to this story than meets the eye. Diddy's team is probably scrambling behind the scenes, trying to prepare for what could be a devastating blow. Legal experts are already speculating that if Usher's testimony is as damaging as rumored, Diddy might be forced into a settlement or could face a drawn-out legal battle that drags every skeleton out of his closet.
You get what I'm saying? That right now, anything you do, you're going on the news, you're going anything. You can't just be a man. You can't say no. You can't say you want to hustle. Can't stand on the corner. Everybody that ride by know you can't go to work. Everybody taking pictures. You can't even have a fucking day at a job. Everybody want to take pictures. Everybody want to talk about it. Your whole life, nobody want to be subjected to that. No one man want to have to endure all that failure. People on your way back down on the ladder, motherfuckers laughing and couldn't wait to see you, and motherfuckers you done did shit for don't want to help you because they don't want to see you back up. They got it. You done did it for them. But man, I was waiting for you to fall for so long. That's why I stay to myself right now, because it's like I've done so much for so many people, but those same people also turned their back on me. And that's why I hated Puffy. That's it. I hated Puffy because it wasn't.
Usher's connection to Diddy dates back to the 1990s when the young singer moved into Diddy's home as a teenager. At the time, Diddy was a rising star in the music industry, and Usher was eager to learn from one of the best. However, insiders reveal that living with Diddy exposed Usher to a world of excess and questionable behavior. It was like a crash course in the dark side of the music industry, one source said. Usher saw things that no teenager should ever see.
Aubrey confided in her about Diddy's behavior that made her uncomfortable, and then they were both fired from Danity Kane. Dawn Richard filed a lawsuit against Diddy last summer right before he was arrested. In Dawn's suit, she claimed that Diddy touched her inappropriately, locked her in a car for hours, and she witnessed him being physically abusive toward his ex-girlfriend Cassie. Diddy has denied all the allegations against him, and when it comes to Sarah's lawsuit specifically, his legal rep said, quote, "This is yet another example of false claims being filed against Mr. Combs. No matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted or sex trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason. With the deadline for New York's Gender Motivated Violence Act expiring tomorrow, it's clear that opportunists are rushing to file last-minute meritless claims. Mr. Combs remains confident he will prevail in court."
Let's break down this nearly 150-page complaint with attorney and former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Nima, always great to see you, and thank you so much for joining me. What's your reaction to this latest complaint filed against Diddy?
Elizabeth,
Now, decades later, Usher is reportedly ready to share what he knows. And it could spell disaster for Diddy. Usher's history with Diddy goes way back, and he might be one of the only people who truly knows what's been going on. Usher has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. His testimony could offer insight into the private world of Diddy's empire, shedding light on how he operates both professionally and personally. If these dark secrets come to light, it could not only impact Diddy's career, but also send shockwaves through the entire industry. But the story doesn't end there.
Sex abuse cases. And what they tried to do is open the statute of limitations for both criminal and civil. Criminal was struck down as unconstitutional, a violation of the ex post facto clause. But these civil statute of limitations, because we're just talking about money, these windows, these openings, they have been allowed. And in Diddy's case, first it was New York State and now New York City. And now both of those windows have closed. So unless someplace like California or Florida or someplace where sexual assault happened, someone could file a claim there, this is probably going to be the end of the road for most of the Diddy claims, at least certainly in New York.
Absolutely, and we still have a whole trial still waiting ahead that's just completely separate from all the civil complaints and lawsuits filed against him too. So still a lot of Diddy coverage, it feels like, will continue to be happening.
Theories suggest that Usher's mentorship of Justin Bieber may have also been influenced by Diddy's alleged misconduct. Bieber, who was just 13 when he was discovered by Usher, has faced his own struggles with fame and mental health. Some insiders claim that Bieber's early exposure to the music industry, under the guidance of Usher and Diddy, may have left him vulnerable to exploitation. While Bieber has not publicly accused Diddy of any wrongdoing, the speculation has added fuel to the fire.
Are named in this complaint.
Like kitchen sink approach, a little bit of a different case. Obviously, there are allegations of sexual assault related to Diddy groping Rivers' breast, but it's in many ways more of an employment complaint, sexual harassment and employment complaints, as opposed to, the freak-offs, what we typically have been talking about, that sex trafficking. Obviously, there was a relationship between Rivers and Diddy and all these companies that you talked about, right? MTV, Universal, and they've all been thrown in there because really it's one of those situations where, unless you name them now, you're probably not going to be able to amend later because of that statute of limitations. Probably overkill. I imagine that some of these defendants will be either voluntarily dismissed or they'll file motions to dismiss and they'll be out and the case will really...
Insiders are speculating that Usher might have been keeping receipts over the years, texts, emails, maybe even recordings that could serve as hard evidence. And if that's true, Diddy might be in more trouble than anyone realized. It's one thing to have rumors swirling around, but if Usher comes forward with solid evidence, Diddy's defense might crumble faster than anyone expected. Friends and associates of Diddy have been quick to defend him, calling the allegations fabricated and taken out of context.
About it, right? Some 20 some odd years later. The other would be some sort of direct negligence type claim that doesn't say that the entity is directly responsible for Diddy's conduct, but they're responsible because they negligently hired him, they supervised him, sort of a lack of supervision, just general negligence claim. So you're going to see two different approaches in a case like this when it comes to the sexual assault, and then of course the harassment as well. There's plenty of laws that have been on the books for many years that protect employees from harassment by their employers, even if there is no sexual assault or contact.
And I know we've had, a number of conversations, especially when we talk about Sean Diddy Combs, and I know we often talk about just the power that he had exuded before his arrest and even before all the lawsuits came out. And looking through Sarah's allegations against Diddy, it kind of echoes other allegations against Diddy, specifically, as we've been talking about when it comes to this treatment of artists that he works with,
They insist that Diddy is the victim of a smear campaign designed to tarnish his reputation and legacy. However, others close to the case suggest that Usher's testimony could have a significant impact on the outcome. Legal experts weigh in, suggesting that the revelations could lead to a conviction if admitted in court. The judge overseeing the case has yet to rule on the admissibility of the testimony, but the damage to Diddy's public image may already be irreversible.
Peter, what were you hearing from sexual abuse victims or sexual assault victims, especially in these high-profile cases where they might have been fearful of the person that they're making these allegations against, and that may have deterred them from speaking out beforehand?
It's not uncommon for a sexual assault or sexual abuse or sexual harassment victim not to speak out when there is a disparity of power. And this is something that, not just in the Rivers case, but it even goes back to Cassie Ventura, right? Obviously, she was an artist. She's expressed concern about her career and what Diddy could do. He's one of the most powerful artists in the hip-hop community, right? He can make or break you. So when there's this fear, when there's this disparity, when someone's career, right, their passion is on the line, they can be hesitant to come forward, especially when maybe they don't have money to hire a lawyer or they don't think anyone will believe them or even...
The impact on Diddy's business ventures could be catastrophic. His brand, endorsements, and partnerships could all be at risk if this situation escalates. Companies associated with him might start distancing themselves, and investors could pull out to avoid the negative fallout. It could lead to a domino effect, with Diddy's empire unraveling one deal at a time. This isn't just a story about Diddy. It's about the broader issues of power and accountability in the entertainment industry.
Contemporaneous report, telling law enforcement, medical personnel, that would be great. But even a friend or family member, something that can come and say, back at or near the time when all this happened, so-and-so told me, whether it's Rivers, whether it's Ventura, anyone, that this was happening. That helps at least counter the argument that this is all fabricated after the fact.
And do you see this going to trial by any chance, by a jury at that?
Well, we'll see. Obviously, the May criminal trial is the one that's the most important, right? Not just because it's a criminal case and could result in Diddy spending years or maybe even decades in prison, but it's interesting to see how much money he has left when it's all said and done. It's going to have to spend tens of millions of dollars at trial. He's obviously lost any deals that he had. Certainly his businesses, their value has tanked. So I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be broke, but there are a lot of civil claimants, more than 100. And
Usher's testimony has sparked important conversations about how young artists are treated and whether the system is equipped to protect them. Some are calling for reforms to ensure that all artists, regardless of their status, are kept safe from harm. Others argue that Diddy's situation is a consequence of his alleged actions and that he must face the realities of the legal system. Fans are divided on social media, with some still defending Diddy and others calling for accountability.
It is just incredibly graphic. I'm not going to repeat it here, but essentially John Doe claims that Combs sexually assaulted him and then he lost consciousness. 10 years old. Quote, when plaintiff awoke, he began crying immediately. Plaintiff's pants were undone, and then he says that his private areas hurt badly. Combs was still present. Plaintiff cried that he wanted to go to his mom and dad. Combs replied that if plaintiff told anyone about what had happened, he would hurt plaintiff's mom and dad badly. Upon plaintiff's return, his parents immediately noticed that he was lethargic and acting differently. Although plaintiff ultimately told his parents what happened, plaintiff and his parents were terrified of the potential consequences of reporting the abuse. I want to focus on that point real quick, because assuming these allegations are true, some might say, how could you not report this to the police? Your child gets attacked, I don't care who the person is, you go to the police. The other way of looking at it is, and this is a big theme that makes its way into these lawsuits and even the criminal case.
The hashtags related to this scandal are trending, and everyone has an opinion. It's clear that this is more than just a legal issue. It's a public relations disaster that could reshape Diddy's legacy forever. As the case continues to unfold, one question looms large. What's next for Diddy? Will Usher's testimony lead to a conviction, or will Diddy's legal team find a way to discredit it? And how will this explosive revelation impact his career and legacy?
Gender or on the basis of gender, and due at least in part to an animus based on the victim's gender, is satisfied because defendant Combs forced plaintiff to engage in a sexual interaction without consent. Plaintiff John Doe could not effectively consent because of his age. The non-consensual sexual touching of a minor herein presented a serious risk of physical injury and in fact caused such injury. Gender animus adheres when consent is absent. And the lawsuit reiterates that businesses connected to Combs could be at fault as well. It alleges the Combs businesses had knowledge and or should have had knowledge of Combs' widespread and well-known practice of committing sexual assault and gender-motivated violence, including on premises owned and or operated by defendants, and did nothing to stop it. And the plaintiff here is demanding a jury trial. Okay, so putting that horrifying lawsuit to the side, we have another one that we want to tell you about, because that is not the only man claiming that.
For now, all eyes are on the courtroom as the world waits to see how this story will unfold. At this point, all eyes are on Usher. Will he testify? What will he say? And how much damage could it do to Diddy's empire? We don't have all the answers yet, but one thing's for sure. The story is only going to get bigger. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss a single update on this developing scandal. We'll keep you in the loop as more details come to light. Until then, drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know what you think about this whole situation.